Charlie Kirk was shot and killed yesterday, and it is wild the way that people have responded. There's so much evil. I mean, not taking into consideration that this is a real person, that this is a father, that this is a husband. My pastor during service yesterday said something very interesting. He said, a man was killed for sharing truth with a generation, with people that are just not interested in hearing the truth. And it's wild because we hear so much that, oh, your truth, my truth. Like you should be able to share what you believe in. You should be able to express yourself and share your point of view, and you shouldn't be attacked by it. Yet someone will lose their life for doing that. And this reminded me on a much, much smaller scale as an artist. The reason why I wanted to make this video, as is very just off the cuff, is because I thought to myself, last year I remember I shared something. I shared a piece of art, and overnight, I lost 500, about 500, maybe a little bit more followers. And I remember thinking, what is wrong with people? Like, it was just so bizarre. But I was like, it wasn't like I was angry and sad about it. I was just more annoyed at, like, what is going on. And the reason for that is not just because I lost followers. Like, I mean, whatever, who cares? But the amount of DMs that I got of people, like, just attacking me or calling me all sorts of names and things. People that, yeah, maybe we're not friends, like we don't hang out in person or whatever, but people that I knew for years and that I would collaborate with, that I would share art with, ideas, go back and forth, like people like that. I guess you would call it internet friends or something, attacking and saying all this stuff over a piece of art that I made, over my point of view on something. And I think that this is, and you're hearing a lot of people say this, that this is actually a spiritual attack. That this is the enemy trying to silence you from sharing truth, from sharing your point of view. Now, what does all of this have to do with like Charlie Kirk? I think that with what happened yesterday with him being shot, it's either going to stir something up inside of you where you're going to be like, you know what, I have ideas, I have a point of view, I have something to say with my art. And you're either going to decide, gosh, I don't want to be attacked for sharing my point of view. Or you're going to decide, you know what, I think this is the time to share and to just not worry and not care about what people will think or say about whatever my ideas are, about what I have to say. And so I want to encourage you to do that. But here's the thing that I'll say. If you're worried about what people will say, what people will think, and you silence yourself, and you silence your ideas, or you water down your ideas, you're going to have to do that after you get hired. So in other words, if you're doing that because you're afraid of not getting a job, not getting a gig, a freelance opportunity, whatever it is, you're going to have to just continue to silence yourself. After you get hired, after you work on this project with this client, when you go hang out with these people, when you go here, when you go there, you're going to have to just always silence your voice, your ideas. And all that's going to do is it's just going to hinder your creativity. Eventually, after time, I'm telling you, it will take a toll on you because you're keeping something inside that's meant to be released, to be shared with other people. It reminds me of that Bible verse that says, no one lights a lamp or a basket. What is it? It's like, it says, let's see, hold on. No one lights, okay. It says, Mark 4, it says, then Jesus asked them, would anyone light a lamp and then put it under a basket or under a bed? Of course not. A lamp is placed on a stand where its light will shine. Your creativity, your gift, I believe that this was a gift given to you by God to share with the world, because only you, and I've said this before in other videos, are able to share, to tell the story that you're supposed to tell. Share the painting, the song, whatever that is. I do believe that eventually we'll come to the end of our lives, and I do believe that Jesus will ask you, what did you do with the gift that I gave you? He gave you that gift, not him, not her, not this other person. He gave you a creative gift. He gave me the gift of being able to create. And yeah, we both share that commonality, but you have a different story to tell than I do. And the problem is that I think what's happening with the world and what we're seeing and with what happened yesterday is, yes, I'm not saying that you need to go make political art or anything like that, but I think that what that does is it starts to silence people. It starts to scare people into sharing their point of view, even if it's not life and death. I mean, you're sharing stuff on social media, you'll lose a couple of followers, or you'll lose a job opportunity or an opportunity to work on a project or something. And people are afraid to do that. I think just sharing the truth is more important than a job, than a gig, whatever that is. Because for the 500 that you lose, for 1,000, for the 5,000, for the job opportunity that you lose, 5,000 others will find you that will be encouraged by what you had to say, that will be uplifted, that will be impacted in one way or another. But the only way to actually do that is to not allow the devil to hinder you, to silence your voice. Your creativity is your visual voice. And the enemy wants nothing more than to be able to silence you from sharing that. So I hope that this message encourages you. I think that what happened yesterday was really just tragic. I think it was terrible. Like I said, we're living in times where so many people say things like, hey, you should be able to share. I should be able to say what I want to say. You should be able to say what you want to say. But it sure doesn't seem quite like that. If you're a Christian artist, if you're a Christian creative, if you're watching this, you probably are. I want to encourage you to share those ideas, to share what God has put inside of you that only you can tell, in the way that only you can say it, in the way that only you can express it, whether it be through music, film, drawing, whatever the case may be, a story, whatever that is. Don't let the enemy silence your voice. Don't let him silence your creativity. And I'll see you on the next one. Keep the fire alive, my friends.